Hello viewers, Super GT here. Now, let me welcome you to the chicane of lethal sausages. Yes, that's right, you heard me correctly. We are at Dragon Trail Gardens in Croatia, and this is one of the most lethal and frustrating chicanes in the game. If you launch it incorrectly, you are heading to the peak of that very mountain. And that's just the first apex. Let's have a look at the second apex. Very much the same story. Your finest Croatian pork can be found here at Dragon Trail Gardens on this chicane, and many a driver has found themselves getting launched up to that mountain. Okay, manufacturers this is. Here's our scores thus far. Not doing too badly, actually third in our region for BMW, which is not too bad. I'm in the top 50 as well for the region, which is not too bad. I'm quite happy with that. Now this race is a rather interesting one because we have to use all three tyre compounds: hard, medium and soft. So let's get straight into it, shall we? Let's dive in and have a look, see what we can do. 329 points on offer for first, which is a good point score for me. My lowest at the moment is 273, or my lowest counting score is 273, so I need to try and beat that ideally. So let's go out into qualifying and take a look. Now, of course, qualifying, I'm going to try and set yourself into a good position. I found myself behind Roswald in the Viper here. And here is the chicane. Now, Roswald going for the launch line. And this chicane is very much one that, in qualifying, I think you do need to take the risk and launch the sausages. You need to ride the sausages, as weird as that might sound, but it needs to be done. But then in the race you need to be a bit more careful, a bit more circumspect about the sausages. But let's see what we can do in our qualifying lap. There's only enough time, I think, for one, possibly two laps, but we'll see. Into the first corner, you brake deep, go deep, and then pivot mid-turn and come back out. I, of course, am using BMW. That's my manufacturer for this season. It's been going rather well, and I'm quite pleased with how it's gone so far. We can still have some more decent results, including this round. There's 3 more rounds left to go, so a few more chances to try to improve our score and move up the leaderboard if possible. We're now into the tricky middle sector here at Dragon Trail Gardens. This is a really difficult circuit. It's really technical. Lots of corners leading on to the next one. Lots of potential to get it wrong, and of course, let's not forget the chicane of sausages, where you could get launched quite unenviably into those mountains in the distance. Okay, so Dragon Trail Seaside as a chicane of death. Dragon Trail Gardens, it is a chicane of death, but in a slightly different way. Now have a look ahead here. The Ferrari launches the sausage, as does Roswald. I decided not to. The Ferrari actually, it really didn't pay off for him. Roswald, I think, having to slow down as a result of the Ferrari taking some evasive action there. And I'm right on the back of him now. So final corner here, very long right-hander. Seemingly takes an age to get around it. And then we are coming up to the start-finish line to complete our laps at 29.2. Quarter of a second away from pole position. We jump into the pit lane, try to go again with some fresh tyres, but there wasn't enough time to go again. So our first lap was the one that counted, and it was a decent lap actually. I timed the slipstream well and put the lap relatively together. 3/10 away from pole, moving down to 6th eventually, which actually turned into 7th by the end of the qualifying session, as you can see. So 3.5 tenths away from pole, not too bad. Starting 7th, which is better than 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th and 20th, for those wondering. But it's worse than 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd and 1st, incidentally. Okay, race begins. 20 laps around Dragon Trail Gardens. All 3 compounds of tyre must be used, and let's try to avoid getting sent to the peak of the mountain. That would be ideal. We're going to ride on board throughout this race with TX3 Blay, who's driving the Subaru WRX, and quite fittingly drifting it through the first corner. So he's starting 13th. Let's monitor his progress as well as mine throughout the course of this race. Now, I've started on the soft tyre, courtesy really of being towards the front of the pack. So you can see the top 7 here. We're pulling away quite quickly from the rest of the group behind. It seems that the Ferrari behind is already a second adrift already, very quickly, or 1.2 now. And that perhaps tells me that they are on a slower tyre, probably the medium. If you're at the front of the pack, you probably want to start on the soft tyre, just pull away from the rest of the pack. And if you're at the back, you want to start on the hard maybe. Let's not forget you have to use the hard tyre at one point. So you can see there as we look behind, the Ferrari already being cut adrift, 1.5 away now. They're losing time, hand over fist at this point of the race. That's good. We don't really have a distraction to worry about at this point in time. We can just focus on our laps. And this circuit is very much one where you really do have to have full concentration. It's a very technical track, lots of potential to just drift a little bit wide and make a mistake. And of course the chicane as well, very difficult to navigate. 20 times in a row we've got to get through there just fine. So looking back at Blay, oh my god, someone's spinning it out on the curb, and there's another car on the racing line slowing down for a penalty. That kind of just shows you how perilous this circuit can be, and that was actually just on the exit of the final corner, which isn't really one of the worst spots. I would say one of the worst corners and one of the most difficult corners is this one here, the quadruple left. Apex 1, Apex 2, Apex 3 you kind of miss it, and then you come back for the fourth one there, so it's a long corner. Your right hand tyres screaming in pain as you go through that one. Very long corner indeed. And you can see there, as we pan out, a big gap to the Ferrari behind, now 3 seconds behind. So yeah, they're certainly on a harder tyre, perhaps the medium probably. So Mario going defensive into the hairpin. So we're just onto the back of him now. Trying to go for the cutback on the way out of the hairpin, not quite going to work there. The Aston Martin good in a straight line. We're just going to tuck in for the time being. Just losing a little bit of time to the guys ahead here. So the top 7, we've pulled away as a group, just 3.3 seconds away from the lead at this point in time. And actually there, look, Mario just making a mistake on the second apex. Really easy to do. If you just touch your wheels onto the red sausage, let me tell you, you are getting sent into another dimension, and that's not what you want. So through the final corner, the Aston Martin actually quite slow through that corner. It's a big chunky thing. It likes the straights, it doesn't like the fast sweeping corners. And Mario doesn't put up a fight here as we go up into 6th place, into turn 1, lap number 3. So solid move, didn't really resist it at all, and that's good news really, because in a long race such as this, 20 laps, we're looking at more than half an hour for this race, and there's not much point in fighting, not on lap 3. You do your fighting at the end. So for now, let's work together, let's try to set some nice fast laps, perhaps catch back up to the Citroen just in front, which has got away from us a little bit, and just be nice and consistent. Any time you lose now could really cost you at the end of the race. If you lose 2 seconds now having a fight, that could really come back to haunt you by lap 20. So let's not do that just yet. And well, we're not doing that. We are lapping quite nicely, still pulling away comfortably from the group behind. Judging by the map, top 7, you know, we're in our nice little group here at the front, and then you've got another big group of about 7 or 8 cars just behind fighting for 8th place. So navigating the chicane just fine there, not gaining at this point in time, although actually no, we are certainly going to gain now as Wheeling makes a similar mistake to what we saw Blay go past at the end of lap 1, just drifting a little bit wide of that curb. Just shows you, very easy to do, and gets sent spinning around. Blay not able to capitalise on that as he was a little bit too far ahead. He's going to go for a move here up inside of the Hyundai with some contact, and looks like a recovering creaser there. Went a little bit deep into turn 1. So now let's have a look ahead. We have Cristiano. Actually, have a look at this. Creaser there going wide. And that just shows you what happens when you go off the track. Tyres get very dirty, completely filled with filth, and then for about a good 10-20 seconds after that, your car doesn't really want to turn. So Creaser there going down a couple of positions. Blay now up into 9th from 13th, and myself gone from 7th up into 5th at this point. We are getting gapped slowly by the cars in front, so we started about 3 seconds away from the lead. We're now 3.9, so just dropping a little bit, but let's not forget we have gained 2 positions. Avoiding that first chicane, sorry, the first part of the chicane, the first sausage, but always riding the second one. I think that first one caused a lot of problems. We saw that with that Ferrari in qualifying. He rode the sausage, rode the first sausage, and got teleported into another dimension, which doesn't help, let me tell you. Okay, end of lap number 6. Quite a similar story here, not too much development, just the gaps are just beginning to get a little bit bigger. I'm going to stay out here. Now, at this point in time, I thought maybe I could just try a completely different strategy. I'm thinking going into this race, it was going to be a 3-stop, so 2 stints on soft, 1 on medium, 1 on hard. I was thinking, could I do something different here compared to everyone else? Just try to extend this soft stint and do 1 on soft, 1 on medium, 1 on hard, and do only 2 pit stops instead of 3. The tyre wear is quite high around here, which is going to be the deciding factor on that one. So I was a bit indecisive, I would say, at this point in time, but we're going to see how much slower we are on 7 laps old worn tyres here, and perhaps staying out 1 extra lap might not be the best decision. You see it just a little bit wide through that corner. And this is the tricky infield middle sector where you really do need all the grip you can get. Very technical. A little bit wide there, into the hairpin, and into the apex of the hairpin, a little bit wider still. Unfortunately, that gives us a ½ second penalty, which is frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. It's not such a big penalty, especially around this track, because the penalty zone is actually not such a horrific position. There are far worse tracks for penalties than this one. This one, actually, there's a bit of a trick you can use here by just going to the pit lane, and you don't actually lose too much time to a penalty. The penalty zone is just there on the left on the main straight. We are going to go into the pit lane and change over to our second set of soft tyres. Let's see how that in-lap has affected us. I don't think it will be totally good news. So there's the Ferrari and the Beetle, and Mario and the Aston Martin comes through. You see we just served our ½ second penalty on the exit of the pit lane, which really didn't cost us much time at all because we were going to have to slow down for the corner anyway, and we were just coming out of the pits. So a ½ second didn't cost me too much. It was really just the fact that I drove a rubbish lap. It wasn't a very good lap as well, at all. I was thinking too much about the strategy rather than the lap itself. So back with Blay. He seems to have settled down with his Hyundai driver, his fellow driver there. They can work as a bit of a team together and try to move forward. So end of lap number 8. Things progressing rather nicely. That in lap and the loss of position here to Mario wasn't ideal, but let's see if we can get back past him. The nice exit out of the final corner. We're down the main straight, the Ferrari goes in, we gain a position there. Are we going to gain another one? Mario indicating to the right, suggesting that he's not going to fight this one, and he doesn't. Up the inside we go. Now I was wondering about this indication, right? I want you to tell me in the comments, because he indicated to the right. To me that obviously he meant that he wants me to go to the right, but typically with indicating, I would have thought that he should have indicated to the left to say, I'm going to go to the left, therefore you should take the right. Because with indicating, you're telling people where you're going rather than where they should go. But on this occasion, it worked out just fine. Not a problem really, but one day it might end in tears where you both think the opposite thing. But luckily this time it was just about clear enough. I think if people indicate, I think it's usually clear what they mean. But into the hairpin, lap number 9. And you can see here we are gaining on Cristiano in the Beetle. I wonder if it is Mr. Ronaldo himself on his Italian account. When he's not playing for Juventus, when he's not training, having a good little session on Gran Turismo Sport. You never know, you never know. So through the final apex, you see there, that's what happens. That final apex doesn't have a sausage, but it is still rather treacherous. You don't want to dip your wheels inside of the curb because it can throw your car up violently. That kind of happened there, losing a couple of tenths maybe. You've got to watch out for that. We are now gaining on the Beetle as we head on to lap number 10. We've just set our fastest lap of the race so far, a 30.2. So just a little bit over the 90-second barrier there. Fastest lap at this point in time, 29.5, so about 7 tenths quicker. Now we are certainly gaining on this guy, which leads me to believe that he's using the medium tyres. And I'm still on the soft, so it's actually quite a good idea to use the mediums. He had a bit of space to jump into. It looks like the top 3 are in a race of their own. they are just clearly miles ahead, and it's going to be very difficult for anyone to gain on those. So I would say at this point we're looking at a battle for 4th place. Top 3, just they're really extending their lead, and it's looking really ominous in terms of trying to get a podium. But we can do our best about getting 4th, which is still a very good result. So at the beginning of lap 11, so at the end of lap 10, that's half the race done. You have done half the race, and now we're on to the back of Cristiano, who must almost certainly have medium tyres on, because I would not have gained on him this quickly. I didn't gain on him on the first stint. It stands to reason I wouldn't gain on him this quick on the same tyre. I'm on the soft, he must be on the medium. Probably not the hard. I don't think he'd be doing this many laps on it. You only really want to do 1 lap on the hard. So this is a clever strategy from Cristiano, going on the medium tyre. So at this point, you know, I'm on the better tyre, but I'm being slowed down. I can't find a way past him. This middle sector at Dragon Trail Gardens is really difficult to overtake around here. You can't really force anything. There is perhaps a chance into the hairpin. That's my voice nearly cracked. It's a little bit wide there, perhaps under pressure, perhaps with the worn tyres. Into the hairpin we go. The move isn't going to happen there. And on the exit, actually, he does have a half-second penalty. We can tuck into the slipstream here, try to go for the move. He covers the right-hand side, which means we move left. This is going to be a rather dangerous move around the outside at the Sausage Chicane. We're going to try it and then back out. Tried it, assessed the risk halfway through and thought, yes, I don't quite have this, so I'm going to back out. Live to fight another day. He's got this penalty anyway, so we should overtake him on this main straight. And we can just use the slipstream here on the straight anyway. As we head down the straight, end of lap 11, there we go, serves the penalty, we move up into 4th. Okay, so we lost maybe, I don't know, you see our lap time there was a 31.1, which was a second slower than our previous lap before that. And, you know, so we could say we lost a second there on that lap fighting him. So that was a good strategy from him. He didn't really lose any time. I lost time. Well, he lost time with the penalty, but he slowed my strategy down at least. But that's racing. That's how it works. So I go 1 lap longer here. Guys behind you saw them. They jumped into the pit lane. Here's the leaders coming out of their pit stops. So this just shows you how far ahead they are. They're a whole pit stop ahead of me, essentially. At the end of lap 13, you see how much the Audi's gained on me. And that is the end of the soft tyre running. So we've done 2 stints on the softs. Over to mediums now. And then we've got to do hard at the end. Okay, leaving the pit lane. Thank you, BMW boys, once again. Where are we going to exit? Back into 4th. Okay, so Mario just behind in the Aston Martin. So it looks like me and Mario doing pretty much the same strategy. Soft, soft, medium. Albeit with 1 lap difference. Blay here in 8th place. He's on the soft tyre now. And this is the thing we need to point out, that by starting at the front, starting on the soft tyre, done all the soft tyre running, I've done all the best tyres now. So I now have to use the mediums and the hard, the slower, the worse tyres. So there is this chance that a lot of the people behind are on better tyres and will therefore catch up. The extent to which, we don't know. Hopefully not enough to actually get past me. But it's just that nervous point in the race where you can see on the map, you can see when you look behind, there's cars coming at you. You know they're quicker, they've got better tyres. So there isn't much you can do once they do get to you. Before they do get to you, you just have to lap consistently, almost forget about them. So far we've done we've done 13, nearly 14 consistent laps so far. We just have to do more of the same, almost forget about the guys behind. Just continue lapping the way we were. We do have to adjust to a different tyre. I've been driving the soft tyre so far. Now the medium tyre, just going to be a little bit earlier on the brakes. It will be a little bit slower around all of the corners. It'll be a little bit slower on the traction on the exit of the corners. But these are the things you just have to adjust to. And so far doing a fairly good job of that. I'm going to skip it forward now to lap 17. Now once again, we mentioned this, the top 3, they're kind of long gone. But I don't think we really have a realistic chance of beating them. This was my worst mistake of the race so far. Drifting a little bit too wide for the quadruple left. And as we mentioned previously, you go wide, your tyres get dirty, and your car decides that it doesn't particularly want to turn into corners anymore. Not for a good 10-20 seconds at least. And as we just pan out to this external shot, you can see the cars behind not too far away. The Aston Martin of Mario right behind me, as he always has been, pretty much. We've been neck and neck for this throughout this whole race. And here's Blay. You see he's a lot closer now. He's a matter of a couple of seconds behind, which is not too far. There's only 3 laps remaining, but even if he gains 1 second a lap, then he'll be right on me. We still have to be very careful. Through the chicane, you see there, plenty of cars in fairly close attention. And this is often the thing that happens with these races where there's lots of strategies involved. For a lot of the race, you're kind of just lapping and being nice to each other, and then at the end, everyone gets their elbows out, and it turns into a gladiator death match on lap 19 or 20. Let's see if that happens. He's crossed the line, or Blade crossed the line. Is he going to get the inside of the Citroen? Yes, he is. And he's going to move up into 6th place. You can see he's very close behind myself and Mario now, and he has a tyre advantage, so he's surely going to start gaining, continue to gain. So my previous lap there, 32.1, probably my worst lap of the race so far, excluding pit stops. So that mistake costing us a second or so, which is not good news as we approach squeaky bum time, as they say, towards the end of this race. 2.5 laps remaining. Started 7th, currently 4th, and I think 4th is about as good as it can possibly be, as we have mentioned. So to finish here would be a godsend, and it would be a decent points haul as well for our FIA manufacturers campaign for BMW. Looking back at Blay, I'm not sure what the explanation for this line is all over the grass. Perhaps he's defending from someone, not sure where to go on the grass, but some extreme defending going on. But he now has a clear sight on myself and Mario. It's good to have a buffer. I suppose Mario being there just behind me is actually, it's a good thing, because once the soft tyre runners do get through to us, then they'll have to fight Mario first before they get to me. But that is something. Mario actually peels off to the side, goes into the pit lane, and shifts over to the hard tyre. Let's not forget about Cristiano in the Beetle, who went for a slightly alternative strategy and is currently sitting in 8th. So he's going to come back into the picture at the end of this lap. So I still have to do one more pit stop. At the end of this lap I have to come in, change over to the hard tyre, and that will be it to the end of the race. Let's make sure this in-lap is good. Otherwise Mario has a chance of undercutting us with the fresh tyre and perhaps getting past us. So it will be a close one, I think. As Blay, close, getting close. It just shows you the convergence of different strategies. He is getting very close, but he's got some good company here. Risa and the Greek driver Itzakor, as he heads into the hairpin for the 19th time. Looks like Risa had a bit of a look there. And Risa in the Aston is going to be in a good position here. And you can see in the back shot of the Beetle actually of Cristiano, not too far away. Risa going for the move into the chicane. Blay not fighting it. Greek driver here, going through the chicane. And that just shows you what can happen if you ride the sausage incorrectly. And he's off. Here's Cristiano in the Beetle. Apologies for the laggy footage, but that's the best I could do for you. Through the final corner of the penultimate lap, we are going to move to the right hand side here. Change over to the hard tyre, just do one lap on it. You don't want to do many laps at all on the worst tyre. So where's Cristiano going to fit into this picture? He's got past us, there he is. We're just coming out of the pit lane, and he's a good 2-3 seconds ahead. I peel out into 5th place. It's a very close one. Mario didn't quite manage the undercut. He's just behind, 7/10 of a second behind. And this is the picture here. Look at this. I'm just at the front of this train. 2 Aston Martins, and then Blay here in the WRX sitting in 8th place. It's a very close battle, and just shows you 1 or 2 seconds of fighting at the start of the race, and I would have been a couple of positions lower down. So it's a good job so far. And just have a look at this external shot. There are so many cars in close company here, in close proximity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cars in that shot there. And just shows you one little mistake or a couple of penalties, and I could easily be in about 14th position here. So just taking the right approach throughout the majority of this race, just to drive it not 100%, maybe at 95. Just make sure we don't make any stupid mistakes. We did get that one penalty, but it didn't cost us too much, thankfully. So having to navigate the sausages for one last final time. Will the Richmonds send us into space? No, they won't. We're good. One last corner left to go and we'll finish in 5th place. It's been a really good race, really interesting one with the varying strategies. We're going to bring it home. Started 7th, going to finish in 5th, and I thoroughly enjoyed that one actually. And Blade doing a good job, started 13th, very close to 6th place in the end for him, but he finishes ultimately in 8th. So really interesting race. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm guessing you did because you're still here watching. But that is the end of this one. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you did enjoy the video, give us a like. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Take care, stay safe, and I shall see you all very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.